It's been almost 20 years, but we finally got a new Daemon Prince.
Spiky Bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Rob Bear from SpikyBits.com. In this video, we're going to unbox and build and give you our thoughts on magnetization. We don't quite get to the magnetization part of the new Daemon Prince model for both Age of Sigmar and 40k. Now, this kit is pretty dope. It is $80, and we're going to talk about that here in a few minutes. I definitely have some thoughts on that particular one. But I do want to say that part of this video was pre-recorded when we did the Slaves to Darkness army box, and that one we couldn't quite get the magnetization down just because the fact that we had a lot of time constraints, and sometimes we only have like 2 to 3 hours to get all this together and get it over to our video editor to get done and out the weekend, because we're literally buying these things off of store shelves. We don't deal with Games Workshop. We don't get their stuff in a little handshake like, hey, talk good about our stuff, because in a lot of cases we can't entirely talk good about their stuff, unfortunately. It's a great hobby, and there's a lot of great stuff and a lot of good people, very talented folks go into doing these things. But at the end of the day, Games Workshop's just like any other company out there, and they do a lot of shady shit, and we're just not cool with it. So our job here is to show you how you can get the most for your money, and stretch those hobby dollars, so you can get all the things you need for the hobby and have the most fun on the smallest, or a normal size budget, I guess, so to speak. So let's talk about budgets. Let's talk about pricing real quick, and then we'll get into the rest of this. It's probably going to be a long video, and I apologize for that. So this particular kit here is $80. Previously, the Daemon Prince, plastic Daemon Prince model was $45. Now, why it went up that much money, I can't really tell you, because a lot of people take multiples of this kit here. And, that's a thing that I think sometimes Games Workshop, they're like, oh, hey, people are going to be buying multiples of these things, so we can price it a little bit lower. But I think in this case, I really don't get it, because they can already sell it for two different army box, or for two different factions, two different game systems. It does come with an extra sprue, whereas this one here, the older one, only came with these two sprues previously, which were, didn't quite have as much stuff on it. And as you can see, there's, this was all done by hand back in the day before all the computer-aided design and 3D prototype printing and things. So they've got more efficient, but I feel like in that quest for efficiency and things, they've ended up charging the end consumer more in order to not sell as many units and concentrate on current core profits above all else, because they have investors. They've been giving more of those dividends back to investors as their stock has slid over the last year. Not uncommon for a lot of businesses out there. Now, back to the hobby sort of thing. Let's talk about the instructions and show you how to make both, and then get into a bigger look at the sprues. Like I said, the Daemon Prince model can be made for both Warhammer 40k and Age of Sigmar. You can't really tell by looking at the box or even looking at the instruction manual that both, well, I guess it does say on the back of the box, they do show Warhammer 40k, but it's not incredibly evident, I suppose. And maybe they'll come out with a new box for 40k, at some point. I'm not really sure. But these instructions do have the 40k version and the AOS version, unlike the one that comes in the Slaves to Darkness box. So if you're here for that, we'll show you how to do it. So there's the 3 sprues. It's still on a 60 mil base, and then they show you, hey, here's the 2 different leg poses. But they also show you here that you've got the Sigmar version and the 40k version. Now, they make some mistakes here. It's actually section 1 through 3 and 7 through 8. If you go 1 to 4, you're going to be locked into this particular pose here. Now, there's 2 different arm styles that you can build, which is really hard to see because of the glare right there. There's 2 different arm styles that you can build. I can't really do anything with that. Well, maybe I can. All right, there we go. That kind of helped out a little bit. 2 different arm styles you can build here, but the 40k one, you're going to be locked into using a specific part. And in, I think, the Slaves to Darkness army box video, I called this part the wrong part, unfortunately, when I was going through that manual there. So to assemble it, it's kind of got that Cadbury egg sort of feel, chocolate egg, where you kind of build up, and it's got these caverns and things into here. For both versions, you're going to do all of this, and it's got this armor plate on the back that goes over the tail. And I think there's actually 2 different tails. Yeah, there's 2 different. Oh, that is the curvy tail. I guess there isn't 2 different tails. Oh, there's spikes that you can put on the end. That's what it was. There's your leg section there, and of course you put them on the tactical rock, because who doesn't have a tactical rock? Now, as far as the legs go, you can do the cloven hoof, or you can do the bird, cacaw sort of thing. And then you get to the point where you're like, okay, do I want the arm up or down, which you can only choose for Sigmar, and then go through that instruction set here. And then when you get to the 40k one, and of course you can use both of the weapons, you actually have the talent here that you can use, and it gets you into doing the wings. And don't forget, there's a little pinion bits on there. That stuff's all super easy. And then you can choose, regardless of 40k or AOS, you can put the trophy racks on the back, or just do the wings. Now, in the next series of frames, I'm going to show you my thoughts on magnetization for this. I wasn't able to get it done, like I said, because it's a very eclectic model, and I didn't have the time to actually get in there and do it and get that video prepared and out for you guys. But I'm going to give you my ideas on exactly how to do it, and I'm pretty sure you could do it. It will just take a little bit amount of time, but I mean, to be quite honest, future-proofing your miniatures is probably where it's at in this day and age, because you just saw the jump from $45 to $80. And imagine if you have to buy more because you glued your wings on, you glued your backpack on, or something like that. That's just kind of a feel badsy, and I'm not down for it here. So this is the part where I kind of talked about in the Slaves of Darkness video. I think I said the wrong part number. I think I said 44 or 42, which are only the Sigmar versions. This part 52 right here, that sockets into this armor plate, this is the only one that's going to be that's valid for this, because it has the armor plating on it, unfortunately. And then you've got this arm here that uses the same talent that you put together right here, and then again you can use the sword or the axe. You can magnetize these, and I'll talk about it in the next slide, or the next frames, more on how to do that. And then of course you can use the backpack, the trophy rack, or the wings right there, and they all slot in really well. After that, you have the option to build the different heads with the different icons of gods on there, and then there are different ends right here, or end bits rather, that go on that. So that, short and sweet, is the instructions, now that we're a little bit more familiar with them. Diving into the sprues, again, it's got the 3 sprue configurations, so 2, like a full sprue, which is half and half, of course, and then a third half sprue right there. Now this one's going to show you approximately how big all the parts and things are, and the wings are great. This one goes together in 2 different pieces, and don't forget there's little pinions on there. But you can tell by looking at it, like, the detail is great. I mean, there's just so much insane detail on these things. Like, look at the Baroque armor and things right here. Let's kind of show you some of the bits and things for the shoulder pads. Getting a little bit of light fading there, so let's just zoom in. And you can see a little bit better all the detail of the trophy racks right here on the wings. The wings are just great, and I really like how they did that. And this actually has some texture to it, so you can do some washes, and you can do some light dry brush, and you can kind of cheat a little bit if you want. The sword's the same way. All that detail is in there, all those runic kind of cut-ins and things. And then you've got all the different head parts right there. And then this is the shoulders, or the actual torso. And I'm going to talk more about this when we get to that part in the next kind of frames here that we already recorded. Basically, what you can do here to magnetize the wings and things. And then here's the 2 different arms. These aren't the ones I don't think this one here, I forget. Nope, I think it's on, you gotta assemble it. I forget which one it is, but I believe it was part 50 something on there. But yeah, so and then here's the legs and things. So lots of great detail on this, no matter what head you choose, no matter what icons you choose to use. There's a ton of great stuff on here. And remember, there's a couple of different front plates, depending if you're doing 40K. I don't think I highlighted that in the instructions, and some tubes and things that go onto this that actually attach to the back of the armor too. Jumping back to the instructions, this is the part I wanted to tell you about. You can leave this off, as you're about to see in the next frames right here. But the armor plating, and this is for the 40K version, will have to be attached because the tubes wrap around to the back right here. So if you want to remove this, you could. You just would, if you want to remove it to paint the skin a different color, you could. Just don't glue in these pipes right here in these wires and things, and you'd be a-okay, because some of these other armor plates you don't have to glue down either. So just kind of something to keep in mind. I know some people like to assemble their things in sections. Now let's jump in and take an actual look at the sub-assembly, which is basically to this point here, where I show you a few things. So remember, I did incorrectly talk about this arm section right here for its part 51. and that's going to be the one for the Warhammer 40k. I think I corrected it in the comments, but just kind of keep that in mind right there. So, and I also think I lost the Daemon Prince back at that time on my desk because I had so much stuff on it as well. But let's see where I was at. Okay, I found the Daemon Prince. There's a lot of stuff on my desk, so I lost him there for a second. So you might also notice that that he's not finished, and there's a reason for that. I'm going to talk about it here in a sec. But you can see where I used the Nurgle tail on the back here because I think that looked probably the best, and it kind of goes with the tail there the best. So I'm not too worried about that. We're going with Nurgle. Now here's why I kind of stopped right here, because I wanted to show you guys that I had already screwed up, and there was really no fixing it. So this piece here is glued together at the arm, and this is the one I was showing you that will only work for AOS. So if you go back in the instruction manual and see which one you're going to need for 40k. And I realized once I got up to here that I really needed to put some magnets in there, and it was going to be very hard to do at this point, and I should have done it. I should have put some magnets in there before I glued all the pieces around it. So don't make that mistake if you're me, but I'm pretty sure this is going to work, and let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So these wings, like I was showing earlier, they slot in to there. So there's a little nub and there's a little slot, and they just kind of lock in like that, which is great. But there's rules in AOS Slaves of Darkness, like you get a bonus if you have wings, you get a bonus if you don't, or you don't get a bonus. There's a different bonus if you don't have wings. So it's actually, some lists might run a Daemon Prince without wings, so I could see where maybe you wouldn't want the wings. 40k doesn't matter quite as much. But for this, I could actually see it. So what you're going to want to do is probably put a large 1/4-inch magnet, 2 of them in here, one over each side of the slot structure. So basically, if this is the inside, we would put a 1/4-inch magnet. But what I think is you put a 1/4-inch magnet over this slot, a 1/4-inch magnet over this slot, a 1/8-inch magnet over each of those holes. And it has to be specific, and it has to be lined up to those holes, because what you're going to want to do is put a metal plate on these trophy racks right here, like cut these studs out, put a metal plate, and then that way it'll line up with those magnets, and hopefully there'll be enough force through those slots and also through the plastic to hold it on. And the same thing with this. But for these, I think what I would do, and I'm not going to actually do it, is I'm going to get a 3/16-inch magnet and drill this out right here, and it would actually fit. 3/16-inch would fit right here. Down here though, you're not going to be able to do much, so you're going to have to use this to kind of stabilize the power of the magnet. So 3/16 up here, and then this is just going to lock in down here like normal, and that's why you want to put the magnets on the back of this, so you don't lose that little notch right there, because you're going to use the force of the magnet up here to actually lock in. So that's at least how I think it would work in theory, if you were to actually do it. But there's just no doing it now at this point. Now we have this arm in here, and this is really interesting how it's the tolerances are so good that you can basically lock that in, and it's super flush, which is kind of just crazy. And then let me show you, this is and I'll put this all together here in a second for the review and everything, but that's not it. This is it. This is the front chest piece. So the chest piece goes on there, but then there's also a Chaos Space Marine chest piece, which is this one right here. And you get this there's this skeleton looking bit right here, and it has 2 little dots on the side, and then you just glue this onto that. And to keep it more stabilized, there's these wire bits, or hose bits, and I think it's this one. Nope, it's that one over here. So this one goes over here, and then these actually just kind of wrap around haphazardly almost to the back here, and then you just glue them on to back here around either the backpack, which I'm about to show you. So here's the Chaos backpack, and then this actually, there's no conflict right there. So for the Chaos backpack, you're probably going to want to put a 1/4-inch magnet just in there, and it should attract pretty good to just lock in there, and that kind of completes the magnetization of that. Now I didn't glue these down because, well, this one isn't going to be able to be a 40k version, unfortunately, because The 40k version uses a completely different arm, and let me show you these 40k bits so you can actually build them if you want the 40k. So this is going to be the model's right arm, and the right arm does not use this bit right here. The right arm actually uses, there's another bit in here, and I showed it to you in the instructions, which I can show you here in a second. This locks in right here, and you glue this one down, and it goes with a different neck piece as well. So this bit is this top, or this back plate, this top plate, and this little kind of horny bit or spiky bit goes together to form that. And then this shooting gun over here that's going to hit the model's left arm is a left piece right here that's very similar to this. And then the actual nozzle of the gun, I think, is mostly on this outside bit. And then this bit right here goes on top. It's kind of like some wires. And then you got this this arm bit, which is pretty easily noticeable on the frame. So it's very easy to put together once you know what the pieces are. It's just a little kind of weird trying to figure out how all the stuff goes together without the actual instructions. And then from there you can put the hands aren't going to differ any. And what I would recommend doing perhaps is magnetizing the hands, because you can do this with a nice little 1/8 inch magnet. There's plenty of room in there where it's going to attach, because you can either use the hands or you can use the axe. And like I said, it doesn't super matter in Warhammer 40k, but going forward in the future, who knows what the rules are going to be like. Or you can use the sword right here, and I think in GW's big reveal they use the sword, and the sword's pretty cool looking, to be quite honest, so I'd probably go with the sword. And then over here you don't have really any option except for this hand with basically a big thumb claw, or just a kind of regular peasant hand right here. Just kind of depends on what your preference is right there. So those are basically your options. Like I said, you might want to draw out and magnetize this one right here if you're really interested in kind of future-proofing your model. From there, there's, like I said, if you're doing AOS, these don't really attach very well until you put the bracer bit on there. So you can easily put a magnet in here if you want to switch it for AOS, because it's already almost pre-drilled right there. And then you just got to find the appropriate bracer and just glue that down, and then you have your place to put the whatever weapon you want on the end there, and that's how that all goes together. So it's actually a pretty cool design by Games Workshop, again really showing that they know their chops. But it's a little frustrating if you're trying to figure out how to make all three, or you don't have the 40k version of instructions in the instruction manual like just happened right there. All of this stuff here is normal. It doesn't change between the two versions, at least there's no extra bits for it. There are a bunch of different shoulder pads. So you've got this shoulder pad, which I think they used in their reveal, and it locks in right here. And then you can have all the different symbols right there. That's the undivided symbol. And then there's this really cool kind of wild demon kind of look, and you could in theory put this on either shoulder. I think it fits up. It seems to fit up here pretty good. This one seems to fit here also very well, but I think this fits on here pretty good because it's assuming that you're not going to put the armor on here for the 40k one, because once you put the 40k armor on here, this whole profile changes. So there's that too. And then each of the heads just have this little square backer right here, and then you just boop, glue them down. I mean, in theory, you could magnetize those with a nice little 1/16 inch bit, or 1/16. You can even do, actually that would probably be a good 1/8 inch right there, but I don't really see why you want to do that, because I feel like at that point you're already going to know which head you want to do. This seems to be one that's on the fantasy or the Sigmar version, and then of course there's all the different ones right here. This guy has some chainmail on him, so I don't really see where he would look really good for 40k. But here's the Nurgle one, which I do like that one. But I don't feel like he's fat enough for Nurgle, so it kind of ruins the aesthetic for me. He is gaunty, so this could look pretty good for Slaanesh for sure. That's a pretty wild look. And then there, I thought there was one other generic head. I guess oh no, here it is. Oh no, that's the bird one. Bird Law. There's the Zeech one, and then this little guy right here. Nope, that's not him. I already did it. That was the tail. That's all the bits. Lots of stuff on my desk right here. So that's basically it, like how you would put this guy together. It's kind of unfortunate that I built this and I only have one of these, and I'm not going to spend $200 to build another one, or to buy another one and do it, and we're just kind of crunched for time. But I'm pretty sure that would work. If you do try to magnetize this, let us know in the comments if it kind of worked for you. And then let's just one more time, I'll show you the instructions right here, that just so you have those handy on which version goes where. So this one here, so this A29 neck, and this version of the arm, so A29 neck, and this right here is going to be, well, not the A24, but this neck, and then this bit right here. Where is it? Where's my 40k bits? Oh, here it is. And this bit right here is going to be for the right arm, and then for the left arm it doesn't matter. You just have to remember that when you get to this point to where they tell you to glue on A35 right here, just don't glue that on. Glue on this contraption right here, and that'll lock right in with that little muscle. The little muscle goes, it's roughly that right there. See the little strap, and there's a little strap right there. So it basically goes over that and glues in right there, and that becomes that one right there. So that is pretty much it. I can see, I definitely see some pros and cons to this kit, and it'd be very hard to magnetize, but I don't think it's not unworth it, knowing how much the rules change and things like that in 40k. Maybe not so much for Sigmar, but if you do want to have the wings off, I could see where that would be a thing for Sigmar as well. Ooh, let's zoom out a little bit. This guy is bigger when he's fully assembled. Okay, so here's the Daemon Prince for AOS rather. Unfortunately, I couldn't do 40k version, but I just showed you how to do it with all the assemblies there and which instructions. But this is what it's going to look like when you get it all together, and it's very striking. It's on 60 mil base, very striking pose. Now we went with the claws. You can go with the hoofs, and it gives a little bit kind of different kind of stance. And then this is with the arm out and the neck to the left. There's one with the sword kind of up in the air and the head kind of a little this way, and that's the version that you're technically supposed to do, although I think it's just a different, I think this is the actual bit you use with this bit right here. I think it's actually the same bit right here for 40k, so it won't look much different. The 40k version will look very, very similar to this, although you can use this, and then I guess you wouldn't really have that 40k kind of look with all the tubes and everything there if you wanted it kind of higher up in the air. So you're kind of pigeonholed into this for 40k, and then the right or the left arm is just going to be the same for 40k. But I mean, it's very spectacular. You can see all the dope detail, the stacks of skulls back here, and then the tail, the tactical rock and everything, and all these. And it comes with little different hanger-oners, like you can have a Space Marine helmet with a chain. I didn't really show that bit. And there's a AOS Stormcast Eternal helmet that you can have dangling somewhere on here. There's a couple little dimple holes. Oh yeah, right here you can put, oh no, that's not it. That's actually part of a tear in there. I don't know where they're supposed to go, but you can just have them hanging kind of anywhere. Very similar to like Bellacore, I suppose. And then when it comes to size, like I said, this is about how big he is compared to a Stormcast. And then compared to a Primaris, who's actually on a smaller base, you're gonna get about that big. So very similar to what you'd see with Bellacore size-wise right there. So very, very cool miniature, and that's what it looks like all assembled. Overall, just a really neat kit that you know, has definitely a marked improvement over the old kit that I just showed you. Like these sprues right here are just are just silly. This is clown shoes compared to what GW can do right now. And, you know, I get it, and it's cool. It's really neat to see the progression of the technology and actually going back and making products better. And, you know, even if it is new release, and I get it, things cost more, $80, I feel like, well, you know, if you agree with me, yeah, vote with your hobby dollars, because I guess at the end of the day, that's where it's at. If you do play Slaves to Darkness, well, that army box is an incredible deal now that this thing is actually $80. It's just wild. It's just wild, to be quite honest. So great looking kit. We gave you some ideas on how to magnetize it, how to make it modular, how to future proof it. It will take a little bit of time, but like I said, anything in this hobby, I feel like at this point is definitely worth a little bit of time investment to get the most out of it down the road, and perhaps, you know, even some higher resale value when you go to trade it off or sell your army there. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching our unbox and build and attempt at magnetization, I guess, for the new Daemon Prince model for Chaos for both Slaves of Darkness and Warhammer 40k. Of course, you can always get your hobbies for less from dicehead.com, Amazon, and hopefully your local game store as well. If you liked that video feature, consider supporting us over at patreon.com and get back in the mail each month a miniature crate full of some of the stuff we review here, as well as some of the top 3D artist designs out there too, to help support what they're doing. Plus, discount coupon codes from some of those same manufacturers. They're yours to keep, whether you cancel or stay on. It's totally up to you. Obviously, we want to keep you as happy as possible. So check it out over at patreon.com/spikybits.